When will inflation come down? I could answer this question by pointing to the inflation forecasts of private forecasters or of FOMC participants, which broadly show a significant decline over the next year.
Hello, I'm Christopher Crystal, and welcome back to Financial Stockholm. Today is December 2nd. It's Friday, 2022. And so what we have in Sweden is a lot of discussion, of course, about taxes, about the government, about what's going through, about our energy. And then, of course, we're looking at the United States market and what's happening there. So on the political side, there's a lot of mud throwing or mudslinging, as we say. So the previous government, which shut down our nuclear power plants, which built up a lot of windmills, which don't work all the time. They're intermittent power source, which installed a lot of solar in a country where the summertime is the time you can use solar. We are experiencing a crisis of energy like the rest of Europe. And so we have we still have, I think, 4 nuclear reactors that are currently working. One is over in Oskarshamn, and it's been taken off the grid recently. And the time it's going to take to repair it is going to take even longer. And this is because the previous government did not follow the maintenance schedule, which they were supposed to. And this is similar to what you saw in France, where not following a maintenance schedule, especially with nuclear, can be very bad. And so the problem is that they have to take it offline, and it looks like it's going to be 3 weeks instead of 9 days. And we'll watch and see how this develops. But this means that we have less power being delivered to the grid than previously. So the grid prices are going to go up. We already saw that the South has had a much higher price to pay than the North. And the North is now in jeopardy as well, because the electricity prices have gone up in the North. So we have a countrywide problem with the prices of electricity. And now it looks like Malmo is going to suffer an even worse electricity crisis, according to the papers. So it may go that we have brownouts or the grid shutting down in Malmo. And that's never good in the winter, especially when it's darker and when it's colder. So if you remember, more people die in the cold than they do in the heat. And we're in the middle of winter, although it's been a mild winter. So hopefully we'll get through this okay. And it's certainly not as bad as what the people in Ukraine are going through. But we're looking at a severe electricity crisis. So from a business perspective, it's not so good that the cost of electricity would go up. It's so that'll, of course, hurt the food stores, that'll hurt the bakery shops, that'll hurt the cafes, the underlying kind of parts of the economy. As far as the manufacturing goes, well, we'll see how that's developing, but we do have a lot of paper mills still, and they're going to be paying a lot of money for electricity, and so we'll see how this develops. However, another key issue that we have is with the government regarding the taxes and the electricity. So adding to our woes to the economy. So we're already at a very high level of inflation. We did see a slight pullback, and that was because of the lowered electricity prices. But now going forward at the turn of the year, there's going to be a 9% increase in tax on the electricity price. So we'll have 9% increase in tax. So that's going to increase inflation. And then you've already had the rental price increase. For people who are renting houses or apartments in Stockholm. You don't really rent a house. And that is automatically being adjusted up 10%. So again, we'll have an issue with the inflation, and we'll see high inflation continuing in Sweden, but at least you understand why. And then you'll have the electricity repayment done in February, and that's taking a little while longer than anticipated. So you have a lot of PR being built up against the current government. And that's being done by the previous government, which really put us in the spot to have all these problems with the power and so forth. And it's only been 60 days or less for our current government. So we're, any fears about the government being thrown out and a no confidence vote, it's very premature. So I think you'll see a stabilization there. and you shouldn't see any real impact on the kroner due to the political uncertainty. It's more about the manufacturing. It's more about the GDP. We are having an increase in joblessness, and we're seeing a reduction in the benefits that are being paid. So that part of it is not so good. So if we look at the what else is being focused on in Sweden, we see the Twitterverse, where Sweden is talking about the fact that Kanye West got banned from Twitter. And really, this is a non-event for us because the free speech requirements here in Europe are much less than the free speech allowed in the United States and much less than what's currently allowed on Twitter. So, and the EU is forcing Twitter to comply, or they'll ban it from Europe. So we'll see how that works out. There are also apparent discussions where Putin and Biden and Zelensky may sit down at the negotiation table, although that seems unlikely. There is a possibility, and there are leaks coming out that Biden has been pushing Zelensky to go to the peace table. So we'll see how that develops. Other than that, Sweden is sending over munitions, and that's part of the political story. If we're sending over the Patriot missile system from Sweden that we bought from the US, or if Zelensky is going to get a different missile system, we'll see. But certainly one thing to play or aspect would be the munitions sector, and the industrials have been doing fairly well. So even though I'm negative on the fundamentals, and we will likely see more Fed rate increases, there is still money to be made in the market, whether you go short or long. And we should have a trading expert on shortly to discuss different trades in the market and to help you on trading decisions. So with that, I wish you a great weekend, happy Advent, and thank you very much.